Good morning, everybody. Thank you for tuning into my channel called Take Heed to the Message with Abang Anwa. It just means Queen. So I apologize that I'm early today, okay? I'm not on color people time today. So I apologize that I'm not early, that I'm too early. I apologize for being too early. The title of this foolery this morning is Christians and Muslims played a big part in the capture of Ham's bloodline. Let me say it one more time. Christians and Muslims played a big part in the capture of Ham's bloodline. Let's get into the foolery. Before we get in here and start our nonsense, okay? Before we get in here and start our nonsense, I want to bring your attention to the deletion of Deshaun Lee, okay? The deletion of Deshaun Lee, okay? Good morning, miss. How are you? Let's get into the foolery. So, social media has been wilding out, okay? And we have not seen the video until yesterday. The video was released about Deshaun Lee. Now, before them releasing the video, people have already did a GoFundMe. People have been sending money to his family and stuff like that. Okay. And nobody knew what really happened with Deshaun Lee. So now the video has surfaced. Okay. The troopers have released the video, and there's a lot of nonsense in the video. There's a lot of nonsense in the video, okay? And this is what breaks my heart so much is that my brothers and sisters, we don't pay attention to the truth. We don't pay attention to the truth. Have you ever been pulled over by a state trooper and you start running at the state trooper, calling out the name of Jesus? Have you ever done that? Have you ever done something like that? You get pulled over by the state troopers and you run at them screaming the name of Jesus. You out of order. You are out of order. I don't care who told you. I don't care who said that made sense to do. You understand? You are out of order. Brian, how are you? It's good to see you. So, Deshaun Lee was deleted by state troopers, okay? And everybody just went wild, okay? But nobody went and saw nobody said, let's wait a minute. Let's see what really happened. No, y'all believe this was another George Floyd. May his soul rest in peace. Y'all believe that. And so there we go. The GoFundMe is on the rise, okay? The GoFundMe is on the rise. And this is the thing. We have to start looking before we jump. We got to start looking before we jump. Okay? Got to start looking before we jump. So, Jason Whitlock had dropped this on his page. Shout out to Jason Whitlock. I don't agree with everything he says, okay? I don't agree with everything he says, but some of the stuff when he come across, he be on point, okay? Just like Officer Tatum. I don't agree with everything Officer Tatum says, but some of the stuff he be dropping be on point. And this is another delusion, okay, that we have come across again instead of us paying attention. But we're looking at the smoke and mirrors instead of what's going on behind the curtain. So here we go. Here's Jason Whitlock. Here we go. He gonna drop a few gems. Okay, here we go.
Hello, Anthony and Austin Metcalf. We have another controversial racial topic. I believe the man's name is Deshaun Lee. He's known as some sort of community activist, conflict, and got shot by police. And there was an early movement to frame this as another example of out of control police officers shooting and harming an unarmed black man. Well, now the body cam footage has been released, and this was someone probably clearly strung out on drugs, probably clearly, or he is Superman. Because on the side of this highway, a police officer did everything in his power to disarm this man, calm this man down, gave him every opportunity to avoid being shot. The police officer used his taser.
Did he not?
And Deshaun Leith just kept attacking and attacking and attacking, and left the police officer on the side of this highway, no choice but to shoot him. All over Twitter.
All
over X, I'm sorry. Everywhere, everybody's talking about this.
Everybody.
And the other thing that everyone's talking about is what we've been talking about on this show ever since it happened on April 2nd, is the aftermath of the Carmelo Anthony murder of Austin Metcalf, and how they've turned that situation into some sort.
Did you say it's choppy? Did you say it's choppy, Star? It's chopping up? Let me see. Let's see. You said it's choppy? You said it's choppy? Oh, on my end it's clear. Oh, on my end it's clear. Oh, on my end it's clear. Maybe go out and come back, Star. Maybe go out and come back, Star. Okay. Go out and come back, Star. All right. Okay. All right, so here we go. Let's go back into the video. Here we go.
Whodunit, racial conflict, was it self-defense? I've been arguing, hey, like, this feels like a psyop. There's not two sides to this story. Kids at a track meet, two teenage athletes, can't get in some sort of verbal conflict and have one of the kids draw a knife and stab him in the heart. And then in the aftermath, for people to start a GoFundMe, then a Give, Send, Go. And now this kid's family, Carmelo Anthony's family, has raised $400,000, $500,000 on a Give, Send, Go. And the next thing you know, there's some idiot, retarded spokesperson named Dominique Alexander.
I want you to understand that Take Heed does not agree with everything Jason Whitlock says, okay? I don't agree with everything he's saying, okay? But let's continue. Let's let him cook. Here we go.
Advising the family. He's the Al Sharpton of Texas. He's got some organization called the Next Generation Action Network. Sounds like some kind of play off of Al Sharpton's National Action Network.
I thought he worked with Al Sharpton because the name sounds so, the National Network, I thought it was the same. So he just changed a little bit in the front to make it, I guess, his own network. Here we go.
Now I'm watching Dominique Alexander, who has a criminal record, who's been incarcerated several times, not for long stretches, but he's been incarcerated lots of times, including, I believe, in 2009, this Dominique Alexander got in trouble for child abuse. His girlfriend's 2-year-old child, they say, shook so violently, 2-year-old child shook so violently that the child was significantly injured. He had to go, Dominique Alexander had to go to court, got some sort of probationary sentence, but had to do a week in prison. This is in 2009.
That's terrible.
And then since then, he moves on, and in 2014, he starts piggybacking off of the Michael Brown Ferguson situation and starts the Next Generation Action Network and decides he's a community activist. And that's where I'm connecting Dominique Alexander, a guy with a shady past, a guy with a history of getting involved with law enforcement, getting involved with the criminal justice system, branding himself community activist, a spokesman for the Black community. This is one of the biggest, longest, most dangerous grifts going. Everybody gets to call themselves an activist. And so this Deshaun Leith, and we're not going to play the video because, YouTube won't reward it, and it is a violent video, and it's a tragic video of this Deshaun Leith branded as some sort of community activist. And once you put Black community activist, once you put that label activist and Black on it, now Black people have been programmed. He's on our side. He's standing up against injustice. He's Martin Luther King. And we all must support and get behind him. And then they release the video of this Leith character, and everyone finds out you're supporting a violent clown. There's this consistent, strategic, hey, let's get a Black man or Black people in the news. They must play some buffoonish clown role, and then we'll show you through social media. And I think there's some authenticity to it, but I also think there's some algorithm to it in terms of putting these clowns up, getting Black Twitter, Black social media to all hop behind these clowns. And it's like the job that is being done on the reputation, the way we're being framed, and the way we're clearly, when I say we, Black racial idolaters are clearly framing themselves. This is a bad look. This is stirring up a lot of racial animus. This is making...
I want to share something with y'all. That money that Carmelo Anthony family is getting, I bet you that money will be split between this organization and her family. She not taking all that money just for her family. The husband and wife won't be taking that money just for the family. That thing will be split between them and the organization. Okay, this is why they do those GoFundMes for stuff like this. It'll be split between them and the family. Okay, because these organizations can't run on their own. If there's no donations and stuff like that, they can't run. It can't run on their own. Okay, so let's continue. I'm just allegedly, because remember they changed what the GoFundMe was for. They put other stuff in here of what the GoFundMe will be used for. So we're going to say alleged. Okay. Now, King says the new activists are the new media YouTubers. He said the YouTubian streets, the new Tubian streets, King. Here we go.
Well, look, degenerate, buffoonish, immoral, controlled by their racial idolatry. And maybe it's all true. It's blowing my mind what is going on. And so I think we may have a picture, again, we're not showing the video, but if we have a picture of Deshaun Leith, who's now been shot and killed by law enforcement. That's a picture of him attacking the law enforcement officer who's tasing him. And all the people that think, oh, you can just tase these guys, you don't have to shoot them. When you watch this video and see how many times this guy was tased and how many times he just kept coming back and forth at the police officer. And he's got this Black activist title, and people initially jumped to support him. And now the body cam footage has come out, and this guy is a violent criminal who the police officer...
Mind you, he's jumping at the police officer. And a police officer, let me share something with you. I don't know who this man is, but you held your peace. Oh, my God. Because Deshaun was jumping at this guy. I saw the whole video. Deshaun was jumping at this guy. He even tased him. He kept tasing him, even when he stole the car. You know, he stole the trooper's car. He was trying to tase him, nothing. And then Deshaun was calling on the name of Jesus as he called himself, ripping those things off his body. He was calling on the name of Jesus. I don't know what kind of stuff y'all taking now, you know, because I grew up in the crack era. I don't know what kind of stuff y'all taking now, okay? But I be damned. And then this is the thing. The body footage was not released. So everybody said, oh, no, he was just deleted by the state troopers and this and that. But this state trooper was trying his best to not do anything to send this man to glory. He used the taser. He was fighting him and everything. And nothing was working. He tried to subdue this brother. Nothing was working. This is why I tell y'all we have to step back and watch first before we get out here and start screaming, racial slurs and all this stuff like that. Before we get out here and start talking about the white man did this, because this is crazy, okay? And I watched the live footage, okay? All right, Officer Tatum played it. I don't even know how he got away with playing it on social media, but he played it. And I was able to see what was going on. This is crazy. Let's continue with this nonsense. Here we go.
So afraid of getting into one of these controversies, let this man attack and beat him up for way too long. Anybody in their right mind would have shot this Deshaun Lee long ago. But this police officer put himself at risk so he could avoid the racial idolatry and getting involved in one of these stories.
He tried.
As far as my connection to Carmelo Anthony and Dominique Alexander, again, Deshaun Lee, on camera, idiot, doing everything in his power to make sure he gets shot by a police officer. Again, you watch this video and this has got to be an MK Ultra. This has got to be that they brainwashed and put on drugs. How can he take all of this tasing? And why is he doing this? This makes no sense. But maybe it does. You get filled up on this much racial idolatry. They slap the black activist title on you, and this is how you behave. I look over to Texas, where we have a 17-year-old boy with a bright future in Austin Metcalf, Christian, straight A student, bright football future ahead of him, going to be a Division I football prospect. He tells another 17-year-old kid from another high school, hey man, don't sit under our tent, you don't belong here. According to witnesses or police report, Carmelo Anthony says, touch me and see what happens. While reaching into a bag to get this knife, the kid touches him. And this is Carmelo Anthony's own words, according to police. He told her, he put his hands on me. And that justified stabbing him in the heart. And now, with people like Dominique Alexander, is this another MK Ultra? This guy has a repeated history of getting involved in conflicts with law enforcement. He had this issue with a child, and he's been in and out of jail for short stretches several times over the past 15, 16 years. But he's got the black activist title. He's a community organizer, like Barack Obama. And again, this whole community organizer, he's a community organizer. He must be a force for good. He must be fighting against racial justice. Or maybe this is a clown with a criminal history that is an idiot who can't string together sentences of proper English. And that's who's advising Carmelo Anthony's family and putting out antagonistic tweets. The Carmelo Anthony had his bail reduced from $1 million to $250,000. Not that surprising. But if you want to be antagonistic, here's what you do if you're Dominique Alexander and you're an installed idiot who gets to run around and pretend like, hey, ignore my criminal history. I'm a community activist. I'm out fighting for justice. And I know I can't talk proper English, but I'm the perfect representative to go in here and argue and negotiate with the police on the behalf of Carmelo Anthony's family. And my real job is to be antagonistic and to trigger people and to stir racial division. So when Carmelo Anthony's bond gets reduced to $250,000, which not that surprising, and even if it stayed at $1 million, the family had raised enough money through Give, Send, Go that they could afford the 10%, $100,000 to get him out of $1 million. They can certainly afford the $25,000 to get him out of $250,000. The kid was going to get bond, has no criminal record of note, and he's just 17. His family's been established. He was going to get bond. He was going to get out. What you don't do, if you're a responsible person if your job isn't to promote racial division, you don't take to social media and post a picture of yourself with Carmelo Anthony and hopefully.
Now, I'm going to share something with you. Jason is right about that. Because when the boy got released, he didn't have to go to social media and tell everybody that the boy got released. He didn't have to show a picture that the boy got released because we already know how much the racial divide was already here. Not saying that because Anthony is still one of our sons. He's still one of our children. But the situation is horrible to hear. You understand that another 17-year-old has been put to rest over a seat situation. And allegedly, even though they're saying that the coach granted him permission to be under the tent. But how did all this just wild out like this under some rain? You understand? And you see King in here. King just wrote right now, this kid may also get premeditated. He may, because he said, touch me, you'll see what happened. Touch me, you'll see what happened. But Texas is a slippery slope. They have a lot of stuff going on in Texas, King. And a lot of us who are not from Texas, we don't really know the laws. Because you have Texas people on social media like the kid gonna walk. So he may walk. So I don't know. We'll just have to watch and see. But let's get back to Jason. Here we go.
Carmelo Anthony is safe at home. This moment is a reminder that a community united can never be divided. The journey ahead is long, but today we celebrate a victory for justice, for family, and for the power of people coming together to protect our youth. Thank you to everyone who stood with us. The fight continues, but tonight, Carmelo is home. Justice for Carmelo Anthony, NGAN, people power. This is all done to trigger people, to stir racial division. I don't have a problem with Carmelo Anthony posting
chopping up now. It's chopping
don't
up
have.
now.
I don't need celebratory pictures of Carmelo. What purpose does it serve? What's the agenda behind posting that picture and posting that paragraph of this is justice and blah, and painting Carmelo Anthony as the victim? There's a 17-year-old boy that had his life ended, and somehow that happened on April 2nd. We're just at April 16th. Within 2 weeks, Carmelo Anthony is the victim. Fundraising tweet. That's a racial division tweet, post. Who is sowing the seeds for conflict, that's their job. I want to play you, and we would have had Shamika on, because Shamika was here. This is a video, I believe, from 2018. Shamika is speaking at a Trump rally in 2018. Carmelo Anthony and his group are protesting the Trump rally and try to commandeer the stage and shut down the rally for Trump 2020. And here is the clip of what happened. It's about 2 minutes and 22 seconds. Play shot number 6.
Now the screaming and everything that you hear right now, okay, is the gentleman that is representing. He's like the spokesperson for Carmelo Anthony's family, the one that they say have a bad history, a criminal history. Okay, he is at a Trump rally. Okay, and he wilding out. Okay, him and his security, the security trying to prevent him from doing nonsense, and the security is a black man. Okay, so trying to prevent him from doing nonsense, and he's jumping on his own brother, like they, battling it out, and the security is trying to prevent him from doing any nonsense. They done got up to the podium. This is when Trump was had a rally, a Trump rally, okay, and so the security is doing their job, and he going crazy. Now this is the black activist, y'all, okay. Where's the times where our activists got up here and they made sense? Okay. Okay. Where's the time where our activists got up here and they made sense? Stephen, thank you. I always get foolery in the chat. Okay, let's continue. Here we go.
Stop the tape for 1 second. Dominique Alexander is the guy getting shoved to the ground. That was the bigger guy was security, not law enforcement, but security working this Trump rally. And Dominique Alexander's all up in the guy's face. He's trying to take over the stage, trying to shut down the Trump rally. And eventually security that was protecting the stage area and all that had to deal with him forcefully. Now continue to play the clip or even start over from the beginning.
Now, this is a black activist. This is a black activist. Okay? This is a black activist. The days of being a black activist that we gonna get up here, we gonna march is no longer. It's time for them, they said, no, we got to get out here and do some wreck shop shit. Okay? This is how we gonna get answers, do some wreck shop shit. Okay? Because we have let people who love to grift us be at the helm of let me share something with you. This is nasty. But The days of old of black activists coming in here and they're making sense is no longer. Okay? It's no longer. Because even when you look at Dr. Umar, okay, shout out to Dr. Umar, when you look at him and he gets up here and says he is the Okunde, Dada Day, whatever, okay? And he the same one who say we need a civil war in the black community. We need a civil war within the black community because he tired of us coons, some of us coons, okay? He tired of some of us coons and house niggas, okay? That because we up here speaking the truth about the situation, or he don't like that we backing the Caucasian side. Now listen to me. I'm not backing nobody. I'm not backing nobody. Right is right and wrong is wrong. What I see is what I'm saying. Okay? You can't beguile me. Is that how you say that, beguile? You can't you can't fool me into nonsense. You know what I'm saying? I understand what is right and I understand what is wrong. And so you see him saying that, oh, we need a civil war in our community, and we supposed to be trying to correct nonsense, not saying we need a civil war. And this is the same man who has Ghana citizenship, where he can run to Ghana if any foolery happen and say he don't know nothing about it. Let's continue. Here we go. This man caused all this nonsense because he wanted to disrupt the Trump rally. He caused all this foolery, okay? He caused all this foolery when we need to be in our neighborhoods disrupting the drug flow in our neighborhoods. When we need to be, this is where y'all black activists supposed to be, in our neighborhoods that are in trouble. Our neighborhoods that you got all our children on the corner selling crack cocaine and stuff like that, and they're terrorizing the people in their community. Okay, this is where y'all black activists need to be. Community programs, stuff like that. This is where y'all need to be, because everybody feared the Black Panthers, but the Black Panthers also had community programs. They had breakfast and lunch programs. They have food vouchers and stuff like that. And even though the Black Panthers was a problem in the black community, yes, they was a problem because they wouldn't let people come do nonsense in the black community. But they also took care of the black community. Y'all getting out here doing nonsense and nobody is going into the black communities telling the young brothers, listen, stop selling this crack cocaine. You're going to wind up in prison. Stop being in these gangs. You're going to wind up in prison. But no, we going to go to the Trump rally because that's the answer. Trump is the problem. We got to go to the Trump rally, and y'all black activists supposed to be in the community. But if you in the community telling these brothers and sisters to stop doing what they doing, you ain't making no money, right? You ain't getting seen. Let's continue.
Don't like that I'm fighting for racial justice. Dominique Alexander is a bought and paid for agitator whose job is to stir racial conflict. I get when people watch this video, and I don't care what color you are, when you watch these repeated videos and you watch the alleged and legitimate behavior of some black people as it relates to this clown Dominique Alexander, and we went around and caked up for Michael Brown, who there was no hands up, don't shoot. We went around and caked up for Trayvon Martin. He was assaulting and beating George Zimmerman's head into the ground. They invented, if you watch and go dig into that, they invented the Rachel Gentile, Trayvon Martin's alleged girlfriend. It was all a Jussie Smollett hoax. But we caked up for Trayvon Martin. We caked up for Michael Brown. A career criminal, George Floyd, we caked up for. People like Dominique Alexander and Deshaun Leaf get to run around and pretend that they're black.
Now, Trayvon Martin, I don't agree with that part right there. Trayvon Martin, I don't agree with that. Nobody could get me to agree with any foolery about Trayvon Martin. Because you should not go to glory because of an iced tea and some Skittles. That is dumb. That's the dumbest shit I ever heard. So I can't agree with that part. But let's continue. Here we go.
Community activists. For them and defend them. And now we sat and watched and know a 17-year-old boy with a bright future was stabbed in the heart and killed, murdered, because someone said, hey man, get up out of this seat, you don't belong here. Them two kids have gotten a fist fight. It happens in high school. That's what happens with you. Stabbing someone in the heart because you have a verbal conflict with them, and now you want to claim self-defense? And look, I'm not saying it's all legitimate, but the appearance is being created that black people en masse, Mello Anthony was justified, and we believe this so much, we've contributed $400,000 or $500,000 to Carmelo Anthony's defense fund, which, and this ain't on Dominique Alexander, this is on the other agitators. I believe the family lawyer's guy's last name is Howard, and I think he's a white guy, I think. But then he puts out information, yeah, they're using this money to get security, and they're gonna move to a gated community, a new home, and so that $400,000 or $500,000 is going to help them relocate to someplace safer and more expensive. Getting triggered. And they're like, a 17-year-old stabs another 17-year-old in the heart? And the answer is $400,000 or $500,000 goes into their pocket to do what they want with the money? Really? That's the America we're living in? And the impression is, and this is one, I don't buy this part of the argument. I don't buy this part of the argument. But I get why some people do. And the impression has been created that $400,000 or $500,000 is coming in from all around the country from black people. I don't buy it. But I understand why some people do. But let me tell you why I don't buy it. I've already said it on the show previously, but I'm just saying it again. You're talking about a demographic that'll go out to eat at any restaurant and not tip or leave a 5-6% tip and think they're justified in that. You think people that cheap?
Now, I don't agree with this part when he talk about the restaurant, because most black people, when they go out to eat, they tip. Okay. I don't agree with that part, but I do understand what he mean, the logic in the GoFundMe. Okay. I don't think it's all black people that donated to the Anthony family. I don't think it's all black people that donated, because also you got to understand they need the racial divide between black and white. They need us to be in here balling and wilding out on each other because there's nonsense going on behind the curtain. And if we're paying attention to the nonsense, they can't do it. Y'all forget, ain't nothing still happening. They still doing nonsense. The small hat people still doing nonsense over there. Y'all, we ain't been talking about Ukraine and everything as well. Okay. They also got some shit going on in the Congo. We ain't been talking about that either. Okay. So they need us to be distracted. You understand? My brothers and sisters from every color, they need us to be distracted. Okay. Let's continue. Here we go.
Sending money to Carmelo Anthony's family. I don't know what percentage of the money it is, but I bet you it's somewhere over 50%. That's coming from NGOs run by leftists. Want to use Carmelo Anthony and his self-defense and his murder of Austin Metcalf to gin up more racial animus. And black people are once again being used by leftists. You're going to be the face of this. Y'all gave up 500.
Nah, I believe that. I'm not going to get up here and lie to y'all. The same thing with George Floyd. Same thing happened with George Floyd. Because this could have been a situation where this situation, the situation with George Floyd, it blew up. And y'all had even labeled this brother as Martin Luther King, Malcolm X. Okay? Y'all did that. Okay? Let's continue. Here we go.
Making excuses, because if you go read the comments on this Gibson, if you go read Twitter and what alleged black people are saying with these Twitter avatars that make them appear black, and I'm sure many of them are black because racial idolatry is that strong. Bad luck. Look.
It's chopping up.
And people
Sorry,
that
guys.
are saying, I just don't want to be around it.
I think that's him. I think that's him chopping up. But let me just make sure, because I don't want I don't want it to happen when we get to the main event. Okay.
Bluetooth mode.
Let me see. I don't want it to happen when we get to the main event. Okay, good. So we gonna go out of that. Okay. Shout out to Jason Whitlock. Okay, we gonna get out of that one right there. So the title of this foolery, because I don't want to hold y'all too long today, because y'all know if we not talking about pussy and dick conversation, a lot of y'all go off. Okay, so that's why I can't mix pussy and dick conversation in this one today. Okay, so I tried to do a little nonsense first, and now we gonna get to the main event. Christians and Muslims played a big part in the capture of Ham bloodline. I know a lot of y'all like take heed. It was only the Christians that did it, but it wasn't. It wasn't. Did y'all know that white people have never put their foot in Africa until after slave was done away with? Did y'all know that? Did y'all know that? Because I didn't know that. I didn't know that white people never stepped in Africa. They have never stepped in Africa when the slave trade, the Atlantic slave trade was being done. They never was able to enter Africa because the Musa guarded Africa. Yep, I ain't even know. And they were fearful of the Musa. Musa is a Muslim bloodline. They are African. Okay? They call them Hauser today. Okay? And this is why their bloodline, their descendants are still rich today because of the slave trade. If you ever go check out Muslims in Africa, right? They're all rich. They're more richer than anybody else. I ain't even know. I ain't even know. Okay, till I watched the documentary with my husband. I was like, no, this can't be right. My husband was like, it's right. Sit down. So I sat down. I was watching it. I was like, this cannot be right. This can't be right. It's right. It's right. I ain't even know. See, this is when we don't check nothing and we get in here and we believe that the white man went into Africa and they were stealing people. They did not go into Africa. The Musa was strong and powerful. They had guns, they had weapons, they had horses, they had every type of thing that the white man had. They had it already. That's right. Houses own the land and they are the leaders. That's the uncomfortable truth about Africa. Okay? Houses are the most toughest ones on the land in Africa, even to this day. And they're the most richest ones as well. But because we don't check history, and I didn't either, I believe too that the white man went into the forest with guides and they were stealing black people, but that was not true. The Musa was capturing their own and bringing them to the coast. They were capturing their own from different tribes. They were capturing. Now check this out. It wasn't that they were capturing Muslims. All these people they were capturing was not Muslim. So they brought all these people from the coast to the coast. Okay? They had these people walking, our ancestors walking for 2 to 3 months, sometimes 4 months to the coast. And when they got sick from walking so long and hunger and stuff, you know what they did? They unshackled them and left them into the forest and let the wild animals feast on their body. Ain't that nasty? So all the while, okay? All the while we thinking that the white folks came down here to come get us. But the Musa was so dangerous that white folks was scared of them. So they wouldn't come into Africa. Okay? They were fearful of the Musa. Okay? So Musa, the bloodline was very powerful and rich. Okay? So they are the ones that enslaved all the other tribes. That's nasty. I ain't even know that. That's nasty. Now, if y'all watched The Woman King, right? Okay, y'all remember that movie, The Woman King. If y'all watched that movie, it did a small part of the Musa. It showed you a small part of the Musa, how they was capturing people and stuff. And then she was saying how dangerous the Musa was and this and that. They only played put a little small part in there about the Musa. And I didn't even know. Hey, Skinny, what's going on, baby? So now when you hear Muslim people get in here and they say, y'all worshiping the same God that hung y'all or R-word your people or, deleted your people. But if it wasn't for the Muslims that brought us to the coast, we would not have gotten enslaved. We would not have gotten hung from trees. This is for educational purposes only. This is for educational purposes only. I don't want to take heat. I don't want YouTube to take my stuff down. For educational purposes only. So if it wasn't for the Musa bringing us to the coast and selling us to the white men, okay, that had ultimately white men, Dutch, Italian, all this other stuff, if they didn't bring us there, okay, we would not have gotten the R word. We would not have gotten hung from trees. We would not have got burnt and tarred and all that and feathered. We would not have gotten all these things happen to us if Musa was not the beginning of our demise. See, Ham bloodline went through some foolery. This is for educational purposes. I see YouTube trying to do nonsense. This is for educational purposes only. Now, am I buffering, y'all? Because I see I'm buffering. Am I buffering? Put a 1 in the chat if I'm buffering. Put a 2 in the chat if I'm not buffering. Okay? Because I see I'm buffering a little bit. Let me know. Okay? Can you imagine? Can you imagine the foolery that has been going on? And all the while we were thinking that, oh, this is just white folks doing this. Okay? You said a 2. You said a 2. Okay, thank you, honey. I was about to go into another phone. So, hey, Corey Joe, how are you? So, it was them that was responsible for us going to the coast. Okay? Us going to the coast. They were responsible for us getting there to the coast. Can you imagine, y'all? That broke my heart. I was like, why? Why? So all religions had a part to play. The most 2 powerful religions had a part to play in the demise of Ham bloodline. Okay? And the demise of Ham bloodline, if we want to go biblical. If we want to go biblical, okay? If we want to go biblical, okay? Both of these powerful religions had a hand to play in the demise of Ham bloodline. Because Ham is the father of everyone who is my shade or lighter. Okay? He's the father of Africa. Okay? That's the uncomfortable truth if we want to go biblical. So when we get out here and we say that, oh no, the Christians are responsible for this foolery. No, my Muslim brothers and sisters, you are too. Your religion is too. Because if it wasn't for y'all rounding us up and bringing us to the coast, the white man would have never been able to get us. Y'all sold us for riches. Your kingdoms grew because you sold us. Your kingdoms flourish for God knows how many years because you sold us. Good morning, Mrs. Shisa. How are you? So both religions played a part in our demise. That's the uncomfortable truth. Both religions played the part. So when we were taught that the white man came to Africa and they captured us and they brought us to the coast, that was not true. That was not true. And I got somebody that's going to come in and break it down, okay? That's going to do it better than I did, okay? Now let's get into it. They call it savage slaves, okay? That's what they called us. Here we go. Now it's going to be a commercial first. Give me a minute, okay? Give me a minute. It's going to be a commercial first, okay? Give me a minute. But that's what they said. That's what they said. So let's get in here. We're going to blame both. Because of the demise of Ham, because of the, how can I say this? They both got together to destroy Ham bloodline. They both got together to destroy the bloodline of Ham. And one is trying to paint the other one as the villain. But if it wasn't for the Muslim religion bringing us to the coast to be sold to the Christian religion, slavery would have never, you know what I'm saying? If we would have never been brought to the coast, slavery would not even been a thing. But they found out that this famous market that they sold everything in a market, you can sell human beings too. And when they were tracking our ancestors they were trucking through these forests and stuff like that, right? They were trucking through the forests and stuff, right? And like I told y'all, how if you got sick, if you didn't look healthy no more, mind you, they wasn't even giving these slaves water. They had these slaves walking for 4 to 6 months. Do you hear what I'm saying? 4 to 6 months. No matter where they got them from, they had these people walking in shackles. This was our own. The Musa was the most powerful in Africa. And I'm going to share something with you. They're still like that today. They're the most richest. They're the most richest. You will never meet a Muslim man that he's not rich. You'll never meet one. You'll never meet one. Not one in Africa. Here we go. Here we go, y'all.
Come and let's go inside. And then this is the slave market site. That is in Salaga. And I'm going to meet Mr. Jamal. Okay, I'm going to meet Mr. Jamal. He's the site guide. And he's going to take us through all the sites. And we are going to talk about the events that happen here. And
the white man has never come to the Salaga slave market.
The white man was never in Salaga.
Was never here for slave market. Salaga, during the slave trade, the white man has never come here. They came, but that was afterwards the slave trade was even abolished, long before that. But during the slave trade, the white man never just stepped here. So these Hausa and then the Zabarma people were...
Did you hear that? The Hausa and the Sepa people. Hausa is still today, but they back then they called them the Musa. So he's gonna get into that. Okay, they were the ones that brought slaves to the sellers market. Okay, and this is how slavery began. Okay, this is for educational purposes only. Okay. Educational purposes only. I know this is not a dick and pussy conversation, and some of y'all may be like, take heed, you're going too far, but this is a learning day today, okay? This is a learning day today. Shout out to all the content creators that are here. I appreciate you for coming in and stopping by. Thank you so much. Let's continue. Here we go.
Slave raiders.
Hi, so today I'm in Salaga. And Salaga is the almighty town when it comes to the story and the history of slave markets. And so today I'm in the Salaga slave market and coming to learn about the event that took off here. So come and let's go inside. And then this is the slave market site that is in Salaga. And I'm going to meet Mr. Jamal. Okay, I'm going to give Mr. Jamal, he's the site guide, and he's going to take us through all the sites, and we are going to talk about the events that happen here. And I don't know what to expect until I meet Mr. Jamal. Hi, Mr. Jamal.
Hi, welcome, Mr. Chung.
Thank you very much. Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
It's been a long journey, a long time here.
Yeah, I can see that.
Wow. So, what do you have for us today?
Welcome to the Salaga Slave Market. Yeah, this is the Salaga Slave Market, and we have a lot to show you. At where we are here is the Salaga Slave Market, the office. Okay. So we go out there,
Okay.
Then we will see what we have for you.
Hey, put this in your
I don't
ear.
know why they got so many commercials
I know how
in
you
this
hate
thing. Okay, please forgive me for the commercials. But this gentleman that he just met, they're going to talk about how the slaves were punished, why they were waiting to be sold. He said that the slaves were praying to be sold because how the mistreatment in the camp that they were in. That some of the slaves, like they wanted to make sure they shined when they were standing there to be sold. They wanted to make sure their body looked nice and neat when they were being sold because of the mistreatment of the Musa. Y'all, it's something else, y'all. It's something else, okay? You hear me? It's something else. And the punishment that they were doing to some of our ancestors was that if you didn't obey the Musa, right? Okay, they will put you on the ground on your knees and put a wood block on your knees and make you sit in that position for hours. Make you sit up in that position for hours to try to punish you because they wanted to break you. Okay, this was for the stubborn slaves. But the ones who were obedient to the Musa, they let them stand up. Okay? Even the women too. The women who were obedient to the Musa, they let them stand up at attention, but their hands had to be behind their back. But if you were disrespectful and you were troublesome to the Musa, they will put you on your knees, put a wood block on your knees and make you kneel down for hours in the hot sun. Y'all know how, if you've been to Africa, Africa is hot. Do you hear me? If you've been to Africa, Africa is hot. Okay, let's continue. Here we go. Let's continue.
Okay, we have for you. All right. So, well, once again, you are welcome to the Salaga Slave Market. The Salaga slave trade, which occurred in the 17th century, this comprises of 3 tourist sites. We have the slave market, which is where we are here. Then we have the slave cemetery, and then the slaves' wells and bath, known as Wankambai. Wankambai is a Hausa language. Wanka means bath. Bai means slaves.
Hausa language. You hear that when he say Hausa, right? Hausa language. So he's talking about the Musa. That's what they were named back then, the Musa. Hausa is Muslim, okay? If you ever meet someone say they are Hausa tribe, they are Muslim, okay? Let's continue. Here we go.
Wankambai. Yes.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, so that is the 3 sites that made up of the Salaga slave trade.
Okay. So what are the main events that happen here?
Yes. The Salaga slave trade, like I mentioned earlier, happened in the 17th century, to be precise, 1732. Slaves here abroad from Upper East, Upper West, and sometimes even Mali and Burkina slaves are brought here because history has it that there's a shortcut from here to Cape Coast. Now, this was the main market. This is where the slaves are brought for sale. Here they are displayed like what we are seeing.
Now he said all the slaves from every part came to this camp because they had to get branded first. So the branding did not come from the white folks, okay? This is what a lot of y'all believe. So the branding did not come from white folks. Now maybe the branding happened on the ones who were already here in America by the white folks. But the branding started with the Musa. Musa branded the ones that came from Africa. They branded them from the children, From the top, from the men, from the women, and the children, they branded with a hot iron pitch. Okay, branded them. Even the children, they branded too. Let's continue.
So, and it wasn't only human beings that they sell.
Okay.
It was a mixed market. So it used to be called Baban Kaswa.
Baban Kaswa.
Baban Kaswa, meaning big market.
Big market.
Yes, it extends from here up to the other side. History has it that it can take you like 3 hours roaming in the market. Yes, 3 hours.
That must be very big.
Very, very big. Yes, so you can have at least about 2,000 to 3,000 slaves arrival alongside
2,000 to
other
3,000.
Commodities like goats.
Yes. So sometimes that's why sometimes it's discussed like that the slaves are being commodified. They are being
Commodified, like
yes.
commodities.
Yeah, they are mixed with other commodities. So the way you go to the market looking for commodities, such as like this, and that's how.
James, you don't know that some of us was already here. Some of us were already here, migrated to the Americas. Some of us were already here. Got to check your history. If you African American, if you not, then you probably won't check. But if you African American, you'll check your history. All of us were not bought over here on a boat. Let's continue. Here we go.
The slaves are being also exhibited here in the market.
So someone can come like, I'm looking for a female slave, I'm looking for a child
to buy.
I'm looking for a child to buy. So like, who is this guy?
Yeah, this depicts one of the slaves. Like I told you earlier, most of the slaves here are brought from Upper.
Now he's showing statues of some of the slaves. It's like depicting how some of the slaves were in the market. So this is like a historical site. The same place where they held the slaves at, they have turned it into like holy ground. So they have statues. They're showing everybody what happened and where the slaves were eating, where the slaves bathed and stuff like that. So this town kept this area safe. Like they blocked it off that no one can build anything there because they deem it as holy ground. So let's continue. Here we go.
Okay.
Most of them are.
It looks very built.
Oh, so then you're not going to check.
No,
You're not going to check.
Always wants those with the muscular ones.
Okay.
So that when they take them to Cape Coast, they'll be selected. When they take them to Cape Coast, they'll be selected and then be taken to the unknown world where they work in the tobacco plantation or the sugarcane plantation.
So is this how they were? Like,
so this depicts how they understand. So this tells you the kind of suffering that the slaves are going through. Because how he's chained like this, he remained there like that. No matter how scorching the sun is, he's in it. No matter how heavy rain is falling, he's in it. You can't say I'm tired. You can't say I want to pee. You can't say I want to shit. You can't say I'm hungry. You can't say I'm thirsty. You are just there like that, waiting and praying for someone to come and buy you.
Did you hear what he said? He said they were waiting and praying for someone to buy them. They were waiting and praying for someone to buy them. Because when you are bought, the chains come off. The shackles from the neck, the hands and the feet come off. And you have been waiting in the hot sun. If you've been to Africa, you already know what I'm talking about. You have been waiting in the hot sun. Okay? You have been waiting in the hot sun to get someone to buy you. You were praying that someone bought you. Some of our ancestors was praying for someone to buy them so that they can get out of the hot sun, so that they can go to the bathroom, so that they can eat something, because they only fed these slaves. They only fed these slaves once a day. And it wasn't a lot. They only fed these slaves once a day, and it wasn't a lot. Okay? They gave them minimum water, a little bit of water. Okay? So only time a slave can get some water would even if the rain fell on them. The rain fell on them. They couldn't complain that it was too hot. They couldn't complain could they go to the bathroom. They couldn't complain that they were hungry or they were whooped by the Musa. Let's continue.
So I try to say that the slaves, at a point, they wish they would be bought.
Oh, yes.
Rather than.
Yes. So sometimes, even when they see people coming, they try to be active so that you know, oh, yeah, he's strong, he's this or that. So you buy him and then he'll be free.
So that he'll be free.
He said they were trying to be active, trying to stand up straight, trying to be active to let you know that I'm strong, You ain't gonna believe how they washed the slaves up. They made the slaves wash in a little bit of water. Sometimes the bucket would be so nasty and dirty because they made everybody get in there and use the same water to clean their body, to get all that dirt off their body, the sand and stuff, and then use the cocoa butter that we all use today, that shea butter. We all use that shea butter today to make that skin shine. You see how shiny my skin is? That's shea butter. Because shea butter complements our skin. If you melanated, shea butter is your friend. Okay? Vaseline is your friend because it complements our skin, not lotion. Shea butter and Vaseline complements our skin. And so our ancestors, after they got that water off them, got that water, there was no towel, nothing to dry off. They had to mix the shea butter with the water they had already on their body and lotion their body because they wanted to look clean to be bought. Let's continue.
Yes, even though he doesn't even know where you are taking him or her to, but they just want to be bought and then be free.
So just so that this thing can be removed,
and then you also move out of the sun. Because once here, they are fed once a day.
Once a day.
They have little to eat. Mm-hmm. Be in a scorching sun the whole day, yet you have little water to drink. That is the order of the slaves.
Now I see another woman. No, let's look at this man. This man here.
Now, this man that they're going to talk about now, he's a statue. Okay, all these people we're talking about right now are statues. They're gonna talk about how this man was disobedient to the Musa. Okay, and when a slave is disobedient to the Musa, they put him down on the ground, and they put a wooden like board on their knees. Okay, a round wooden board on their knees and make them kneel. Now, I said that earlier. Let's continue. Here we go.
This is also another push-up.
This also depicts another way by which the slaves are also being executed.
Why?
That is a punishment.
They have him chained at the back.
Yes,
they're kneeling down.
They deem him to be stubborn. They see him to be stubborn. So this is a way of punishing while selling him.
So these are to show like a stubborn
slaves. So like aggressive.
It's aggressive. So the hands are at the back.
Yes.
And the chain comes to the back.
Yes. Wow. Imagine you've been forcing out of your home. There are some of them that are never happy. And they will never be happy. So they always.
So you telling me that they supposed to have been happy to be enslaved? They supposed to have been happy to be enslaved. He said they were never happy. These are some slaves that they were never happy. So most of these slaves were never bought then because they needed you to be upright. You had to be excited about being bought. A human being, you got to be excited about being bought in the slave market. Or you ain't get sold. You didn't get, nobody bought you. You just stayed in that scorching hot sun with the chains around your neck and your arms and your feet. Okay, here we go.
To do anything they can do, either to escape or even to be killed and then be free.
They prefer to die rather than.
Yes, death see as a freedom to them.
They saw death as a freedom.
So imagine, he be here. Yes, he has lost his freedom, identity, respect, nothing.
Has been reduced to zero. Even zero is better. Negative.
You can say that. So that one alone, the agony alone made them gave them that kind of psychological trauma to the extent that some of them, when they come here, they die.
They rather wish they die
Death, yes.
than to be sold. Some want to be bought so that they will be free. Some want to just die.
Yes.
Wow.
Because they will try to escape.
So the ancestors of that time had two options. Either they wanted to be sold, they were praying to be sold, okay? Or either, okay, they were praying for death. So the ones who were on their knees and shackled to the ground, okay, those ones wished to die. They said, you're not going to sell me. You will not sell me. I will not be a good slave. You will not sell me, okay? More than likely, these were the warriors. You were not going to sell me, okay? I'd rather die in my homeland than be sold and be sent to another land, okay? So here we go.
The person knows the penalty or the consequence of what he or she is doing, but they don't care of the consequence.
They don't care.
At this point, nothing matters.
I see.
Either escape or die.
Okay. So now I see another woman here.
Spring is all about fresh.
So the
starts,
other
getting your
woman,
life
they
in order,
see another depiction, and this is a woman, okay? So even some of our women, our ancestors who were women, were also subject to the same thing that some of our men was. The ones who were stubborn, and they was like, you're not gonna take me off this land. I'd rather die. So she's on the floor too. She's on the floor too. They chained her to the floor too. But she also has another woman that's next to her. And she's standing there with so much pride. She's ready to be sold. So her body is very shiny. She's ready to be sold. And she wants someone to buy her. We're going to get into that one next. Here we go.
She's been chained to the tree, the baobab tree.
Yes.
And she's just on the floor.
Yes. Here, she's restless, helpless. She's just looking at the mercy of God. Sometimes we say that the only thing that feels their pain is the baobab tree.
The only thing that feels their pain
is the baobab tree.
baobab tree.
Whatever they are going through, their emotions, the tree is feeling it. There was an original baobab tree at that time, but that original tree fell, and this one was planted to replace the original. This one was planted in 1989.
1989.
Yeah, to replace the original one. And the original one has seen everything that the slaves are went through.
Wow.
The suffering, the agony, the cry, the hunger, the thirsty, everything that they went through.
You know, when you are standing a bit from far, it looks so real.
Yeah.
And it's so emotional that you can't imagine the kind of pain. Now I see a helpless child here.
They had children.
There's a helpless child here. The child looks very helpless. He looks helpless, and he looks like he doesn't
There's no hope.
even know exactly what is happening.
Yes.
And
A child.
And I want to share something with y'all. This was not a regular, like you saw the slaves standing out in the open. This was not like a regular, you can see everything. When you go to the Columbus market over here in New Jersey, you see like it's open. There's no trees, none of that stuff like that, right? Okay. So in this market, this market right here, they had trees everywhere. So the trees were the baba trees, the original baba trees, okay? And they hooked the slaves to the tree. So when you walk the garden, and actually, guess how, listen how advanced this thing was. They had a walkway through the whole area. They had a walkway where you can walk and look at all the slaves. Like you was watching, checking out cars. Everybody was on a lot, like checking out cars, but they were hooked to the trees. And so when you wanted to buy, these slaves, you will walk through, okay? You will walk through, and the slave that you wanted, you would pick them, and then they will bring them to the coast, okay, where the hands of, you know, the Caucasian people were there. Their right hand and the right hand of the Caucasian people would be at the, like, you know, whoever, I guess, picked the slaves for the governors and all that other stuff, and these rich people and stuff like that, whoever picked it for their, wherever they were coming from, okay, if they didn't like the slave, or they said no, the slave would have to go back. They would have to go back and be stuck to the baba tree. Okay, let's continue. Here we go.
At one moment you are with your parents playing, enjoying, then the next moment you are at nowhere.
You know where.
Place that you don't know. They
Kids,
chain you
children.
against a tree. You don't know what you have done. You don't know what they are doing with you. All you see yourself is being chained. They tell you, don't do this, don't do this, don't do that, don't do that. You can't call your mother, you can't call your father. So, helpless, hopeless. That is the plight of the slaves. What has happened in the 17th century.
Wow. That's very, very inhuman.
Yes, you know, the slaves at that time, anybody could be taken as a slave. The only people they consider were the aged. As far as economically you can do something, then they can take you as a slave into slavery.
Okay, so I just want to find out. This woman also looks very sad, but then she is standing.
Yes.
So is it because she is strong to stand? That's why she's standing. And then the other.
Also, I want to share this with y'all. When we hear the stories of our ancestors like naked when they were being sold in the market, it's true. They were naked. They were naked. They put like a little garment around the waist, okay, so that you wouldn't see the private part. But sometimes some of them, the garment was gone. And so you would see the private part. You would see them booty butt naked, entire, with chains hooked. And so this is one of the statues that depict a woman that's naked, okay? She has a small garment on her waist, okay, covering her front, okay? And then she's standing at attention because she wants to be sold. She wants somebody to buy her. And she has her traditional marks under her eye, her tribal marks. This is how sometimes you can tell which tribe somebody comes from their tribal marks. And then sometimes too, it depends on if they came to this world and they were sick, okay? Because in African tradition, if you came here sickly, right, when you were born, your mother would mark your face, okay? She would mark your face, okay? And change the look of your face. This is what they believed back then. They would change the look of your face so that the sickness would not be able to find you. That's what they thought back in the day. They did it in my husband's time when he was young. Okay. So I don't know if they still do that now, but it wasn't always just the mark of your tribe. It was also that you were sickly when you were born. So your mother marked your face to change your face so the sickness didn't recognize you. Let's continue. Here we go.
He was on the ground.
You know, like I told you earlier.
Hey Walker,
here,
how are you? Daniel, how you doing?
Based on your behavior with them, then they treat you. That's how they consider that in treating you.
Okay.
So she's not happy, but she has nothing. She can't do anything. So she leaves everything to the mercy of God. So she try to be polite and then gentle. Whatever happened,
It's okay.
yes. Whatever happened, for now she knows there's no any hope,
Nigeria.
nothing. So wherever they are taking her, no hope.
That's what you're asking, right?
So she's
My
just
husband's
there.
from
Whatever
Nigeria.
happened at the end of the day.
So let me ask, a standing slave and a kneeling slave, which one? So the kneeling slave is a punishment.
It's a punishment.
It's a
And the
punishment.
standing one is a privilege.
Privilege, yes.
Because you have a good character.
Yes.
Okay. Now, what of this?
So that's how the people depict good slaves. If you were standing, you were a good slave. Okay, you were a good slave. If you were how they understood the difference. So the bad slave would be chained to the bottom of the baba tree, down on the ground. And the good slave who stood up would be standing up at the baba tree. You understand? Let's continue. Here we go.
Man here, he looks a bit old
Aggressive.
and aggressive
Yes.
and more mature.
He's going into pains.
And he has like 1 feet. I mean, his posture looks different from the other one.
All is a form of punishment. That is also another punishment. Though they are selling him, but he's also been punished. He's also punished like that. That's the punishment. That's how they display him.
So this last one that we see, and I'm going to share the video with y'all too. So the last one that we see is that one has been chained, right? With one ankle down, okay? And the other one up, okay? And he's like chained back this way. So the person who runs this center, this area, this holy land, the one who is running it, he's telling the other one that, listen, this is a form of punishment too, okay? This is for defiance. So if you're being defiant to the Musa, they chain you on your knees. We have talked about this already. I just don't want to keep repeating myself, but I want y'all to understand, okay? So let's continue.
So I want to ask a question. Was the white man ever here to, undergo this business?
Yes, that is one thing that will marvel people. The white man has never come to the Salaga slave market.
Never.
The white man was never in
Was
Salaga.
never here for slave market.
Never.
Salaga, during the slave trade, the white man has never come here.
never.
They came, but that was afterwards the slave trade was even
After.
abolished, long before that.
After slavery was abolished, that's when they came to Africa. But we were told, they was in the woods hunting us. We were told that they came to our communities with guns and everything like that. But it was the Musa that came to our communities with guns. It was the Musa that came to our communities with horses. And it was the Musa who gave our kings and queens materials and jewels and all that stuff. And they gave them cowries. It was the Musa that did it. Do you hear me? It was them. It was the Musa that did all these things. But we were taught it was the white man that came into Africa. They kidnapped us from our homes. They kidnapped the children from our homes. They kidnapped men and women that were on the farm. They said that it was the white man, but it was the Musa. The Muslim religion is the one that did that to us. So Muslim and Christian have a hand to play in the demise of Ham bloodline. They have you see why I say we have to start checking stuff. We have to start being vigilant. I ain't even know this. As old as I am, I ain't even know this. I believe the same thing. That, they came and hunted us down. They took us from our mothers and fathers. They did this. They did not. It was the Musa that ran Africa. They were the most powerful lineage in Africa. People feared them because they had guns and horses and money and cowries and jewelry and seasons and spices and all that. It was the Musa that brought these gifts to our kings and queens and our tribes, and said, they even lied to them too. They told them, we're going to take a few of y'all people and we're going to train them. We want to send them to school and stuff like that. So some of the people who were captured, well, not captured, but lied to, were told that they were going to go to school. They were told they were going to go to school. They were told they were going to work. You know what I'm saying? They were lied to. And then after they got them out of their community, they linked those chains on them. So our people, some of our ancestors, was surprised that this was happening. They were surprised that this was happening. Let's continue.
But during the slave trade, the white man never step here.
So how was the trade then happening without them?
Yes. Before the slave trade, in the 16th century, Salaga became the #1 cola market in sub-Saharan Africa.
Okay.
And it was this, the Hausa, and then the Zabarma people and other tribes who were here trading in that in that particular trade. So later, when the transatlantic slave trade started, and they realized now the lucrative business has now become slave trading. So they switched.
So cocoa bean was first. That was the most lucrative. I'm saying it wrong. That was the most strongest business, was the cocoa bean. Okay. And then when the Atlantic slave trade had started, okay, and they found out, oh, we can make money from this. Okay, so let's get the weaker tribes. Let's get in here and tear up the weaker tribes. And that's when the hunt began for Ham's bloodline. That's when, and they are part of Ham's bloodline. But that's what, the weaker vessels. Let's get them. Let's continue.
From the cola trade to slave trade. So these Hausa and then the Zabarma people were the slave raiders. They were those moving from here up to Upper East.
They called them the slave raiders. So the Hausa and the Zepa people were the slave traders. Let's continue.
Area. Some of the slaves they were buying, others they were exchanging them for food items. A family, due to hunger that they were experiencing in that place, somebody could just sell his own child. Others.
So they're saying also family members, people, mothers and fathers were selling their children too into slavery because of hunger. So there were people who were selling their own children into slavery because of hunger. This broke my heart. When I watched this thing, y'all, I was crying. My king was like, why are you crying? I'm like, I didn't know this. See, when you don't know stuff like that, and only because my king is always into something, like just reading, watching stuff. He just I don't know how to say it. Okay. Because he aggravates me sometimes. Okay, I just want to say that. I want to put that on record. But he's just a type of man that he gets into the word. Like he just understands. You know what I'm saying? He was like, don't cry. This is something y'all need to learn. It was not just the white man that was responsible for your demise. Okay? Okay? So when we look at what happened, it's not just white people that was responsible for the heartache and pain that we went through. Okay? Studious is the word. I was gonna say that. But I always say that word wrong, Walker. I was gonna say that. So anyway, let's continue. Here we go.
Exchange their children. Maybe you have 5 children. You exchange them for food items. Others will exchange them for guns, gunpowder, just anything European. So at the end of the day, they gather them, chain them,
Good morning, Common
and
Sense.
then match them. They walk through a thick forest. It takes them like 60 to 60 days.
50 to 60 days walking
before arriving here.
Oh my God.
From Piccolo.
Yes.
60 to 80 days.
50 to 60 days.
50 to 60 days walking from Piccolo
to here.
To this place. Now, when they are bought from here, they are transported where?
To Cape Coast.
Okay, so how did they get to Cape Coast?
It's also another walking journey.
How long does that take?
3 to 4 months.
Did he say 3 to 4
If
months?
Picoro is 50 to 60 days, that is 2 months.
2 months. And from here
to Cape Coast might be a bit longer. That would be like 120 days.
Yes.
Or more.
Or more. Yes. So here.
So like you spend half of the year walking.
Oh my God.
The most painful aspect that they go through is that once walking as a slave, you can't say you are tired.
You can't say you're tired.
The way you are chained, every 4 slaves are chained on the neck, and then the hands.
The hands.
Then the leg. This
Then
one
the
right leg,
legs.
again this one left leg. This one right leg. That's how they chain them. But you are forced to walk.
And they didn't chain them. You know how a chain, I want y'all to understand this. It wasn't a little space between the chain. Y'all know the chains we see today, right? Okay, so every loop, right? Every loop that's on the chain, right? Okay. This is how you walked. Every loop got hooked with a person. Every loop got hooked with a person. So you couldn't escape. Y'all had to walk and y'all had to walk together. You couldn't get, you didn't have space to go on your own. Sometimes they show us videos that they were like separate spaces, able to run. If something happened, they were able to just get up and try to run away. But the chain was so linked together that they had to walk in unison. Thank you, Green Beans. They had to walk in unison together, okay? Or they would have fell over. People would have got hurt. So they had to step together. Can you imagine walking for 5 to 6 months in unison together, trying to get to the seller's market? So that means this is where you sold your slaves. Everywhere, every part of Africa, you had to trek to the seller's market. And then once they were sold, then they went to the Cape Coast. Then they went to the Cape Coast. Good morning, Corey Joe. How are you? Thank you for the $2 super chat. I appreciate you. Good morning. Take heed into the chat. Please hit the like button. Yes, honey. So let's see what it says. His story is all messed up. Can't no human be going through that. So they can't be true. You would be worth nothing when you get to where you were going. And James, these people who are talking are straight from the motherland. I didn't get nobody from America that claimed they read something. This is passed down. I didn't get anybody that was learned this over time. This was passed down. The man who runs the organization, okay, he has the credentials to do this work. And I never said all the slaves made it there. I told you in the beginning, if you were watching, that some died as they walked this walk. Some died, and so the Musa left them in the wilderness and let the beasts, the wild beasts, feast on their carcass. Okay? So I didn't say everybody made it. I didn't say everybody made it. But that's why they took so many, because they knew some would die. Okay? Just saying, let's continue. Here we go.
To walk fast because they want you to move fast. And you can't also say you are tired. You can't also say you are hungry. You can't say you are thirsty. Yours is just go. When they say move, you are moving. Till they are tired, they the slave here, like you mentioned earlier.
When the slave raiders are tired,
then when they are resting, you also rest.
You also rest.
They drink the water, you the slave, you sip.
Take it again.
They drink the water.
The slave raiders.
They drink the water.
They are not white people.
No.
They are the Hausas and the Zambrambas.
Yes, and other.
So like fellow blacks
tribes.
Yeah.
Completely, exactly.
Groups.
Yes.
They became slave raiders.
Yes.
And as they are selling their fellow black man,
yes,
they drink water, whilst the one they are selling sip. Wow.
Yes. They eat 3 times in a day, but you, the slave, you are fed once in a day.
So he's saying that and I know y'all heard it already, but he's saying when the slaves were hungry, okay, they ate once a day, okay? Once a day they ate. while the masters, the slave raiders, ate 3 times a day. And when the slave raiders drunk water, they drunk like this. And the slaves, while they were on the road trying to get to the market, to this the seller's market, they had to have them sip, because remember, every slave had to drink out of the same calabash. So they sipped, and they couldn't drink like how the slave raiders drink. So the slave raiders would drink like this, like all the water, like, you know. And the slaves would have to sip like just to wet your whistle. Just to wet your whistle. That's it. Okay. And when they fed them leftovers, like little tiny pieces of stuff. And they had to continue on this long journey of 5 to 6 months to get to the seller's market. Okay. Let's continue.
So this is what happened in the 17th century.
So now, during the punishment, when someone died, what happened? What did you think the person did?
Yes. That is what brought about the other slave site, this in the tourist site. We have a place we call the slave cemetery. When they brought them here, even on the way, when coming, so many of them died. It's not all of them who survive. Others die. But what they do is that when you fell sick and you are becoming weak, and they realize you are.
James, I want you to leave. I want you to leave now. I want you to go. James, you can go. You can go. We never said that that white people did not enslave us. We never said that. Okay? We never said white people we never said white people did not enslave us. We didn't say that. We're saying who captured us. That's what we're saying. Who captured us from Africa. Green beans, you ain't even give them no time, green beans. Damn, green beans. And you timed them out too. Okay, all right, no problem. Let's continue. Here we go.
Going to make it. They only unchain you and then leave you in that forest at the mercy of animals and the other destiny. You die, animals will come and feed on your flesh. They continue their journey. Here,
now you heard him, right? He said when they die, I know you mad. I know you mad. It's a triggering conversation. So, and I'm sorry. I know I'm making some of y'all upset. I apologize for that. So he said, the man asked him, what about when they die? He says they just left them near. They just left them near in the wilderness. They didn't bury them. Okay, they didn't give them a befitting burial. They just unhooked them and left them in the wilderness to die and let the animals feast on their carcass. Okay. Walker said he can come back tomorrow. Walker too much. Here we go. Let's continue.
When they arrive, because of the distance of the journey and then how dusty they will look.
How dirty they look.
Are just business-minded people. All that they care about money. Money, that is all.
For themselves.
For themselves. Making money for themselves. So
now he's talking about when all the slaves finally got to the slave market, okay? They will wash them with just a little bit of water, make each slave wash up with a little bit of water, and then here come the shade butter, the cocoa butter come into play, okay? Because they got to shine up and be clean to be sold, okay? Now, let's continue.
Arrival, they don't bring them direct here to this place. They take them to a place we call wells and bath. Slaves, wells and bath. Yes, it's the slaves who are made to dig those wells.
Okay.
They fetch water from the wells, then they go to the bath. At that point, those of them whose hair were bushy, they use sharp objects like broken mirror or broken bottle and they shave them off. If you
like this guy is going to be shaved.
Yes, so they use broken mirror or broken bottle.
So they also, when our hair, you know how our hair is, right? Okay, our natural state of our hair is like wool, okay? The natural state of our hair is like wool. So when they had slaves like that, they took broken bottles or broken mirror and they shaved their head, okay? So that it would be clean, okay? That's what they did. Let's continue. Here we go.
And they shave him. If he has any cuts, they use shea butter and then apply them. So the same thing, afterwards, bathroom.
I want to stop real quick because we're going to close out now. Common Sense Channel. Let me share something with you. Hey, Time, what's up, baby? Let me share something with y'all. Y'all will not believe what happened a couple years ago in the 70s, right? And I was not sure of this either, but I want y'all to go check it out. Louis Farrakhan, the Honorable Louis Farrakhan, I hope I'm saying the name correctly. Honorable Louis Farrakhan, right, was going to receive a check for the African American community from South Africa, okay? Was going to receive a check, a first-time check, and it will be continuous, okay, to uplift the Black community because they felt bad about the history that they had added to our demise, you know, the stuff that happened to us, right? So they wanted to give him a check. That was to just start it off to change our I guess to change how can I say, to change our community back then in the 1970s, okay? Now listen to me. This is what they were going to do to the Honorable Louis Farrakhan. And the United States said, hell to the no. The United States said, hell no. He can't accept that money. We don't allow it. Because, you know, they had to go through the United States and ask them first. And so the United States said, hell no. I want y'all to go check that for yourself. Go check it for yourself, okay? Now, take heed to the message does not like to do legwork. I don't. I can't stand it. I don't like to do research. But now I have to. Like when I'm talking about something, I have to check and stuff like that. It's a little aggravating to me. I like to just get up here and talk shit and leave, okay? But now I have to do it differently. So that's what it is. I want you to understand that. This is why the housers are still rich today. This is why you have some Caucasian families that are still rich in America, that are still rich in England, that are still rich in Italy, that are still rich in France. This is why you have families that are still rich in certain parts of the world because of the slave trade, the Atlantic slave trade. Okay? And the housers, they will continue to stay rich because they keep that money in-house. They will continue. That bloodline, you will never met a Muslim man who was broke in Africa. You will never meet one. You will never meet one. You will never meet one. Never. Never meet one. Okay? Now, I'm going to let y'all go. We're going to go back on it another day. I'm going to do it in segments, okay? We'll go back on another day because I know it's hard to swallow. A lot of y'all like, this cannot be right, okay? But it's right. White men never had a foot in Africa. They have never come to Africa, okay? Until slavery was done away with. That's when they came to Africa. So it was Muslim religion and the Christian religion that played in our demise. Y'all take heed to the message. Thank you so much, Corey Joe, for being the only one that donated today. Because I know it was heavy. I know it was heavy. A lot of y'all like this bitch. I know it was heavy. Okay? And I apologize for that. Corey Joe, thank you, baby, for donating to the channel. I greatly appreciate you. Okay? I'm going to get you a little something in here. And then I'm going to let y'all go because I have to do some running. I have to do some running today. Okay? I got to do a little running today. So I appreciate y'all, all y'all who took time to come out and rock with me. And here we go right here. This is for you, Corey Joe. Thank you.
Now, coming here, you understood exactly what was going to happen. Now, you know they was going to make us do a Denzel off. Yeah, right. Not only did I understand it, they put two black people against each other. But black people against each other. Okay, that's what they do, right? What I'm saying is, hey, I just wanted to say that I respect you divinely. You know what? I respect your mind divinely, internally, externally, everything. Well, all right, then let's shake on it. Let's shake on it then, Dad.
Shout out to Denzel Washington. These two brothers call themselves Copy and Denzel. If you want to donate to the channel, you can donate through Cash App, through Super Chat, through Venmo. If you want to shop with us, our family business is called ubnracksfashion.com. Also, if you want to buy merch, okay, scroll to the top of the page. You will see shop or store. Get in here, check it out, see if you like it, okay? Now, I know that I hurt some people feelings today, that you feel some type of way, okay? But I want y'all to look at both of these religions, okay? Both of these religions played a part in the foolery and the demise of Ham's bloodline, okay? Both of them played a part. If we're going biblically, both of them played a part in the demise of Ham bloodline, okay? And which is Ham bloodline is all of Africa, okay? Which what we were told, okay? So I just want you to share something with y'all. When we get in here and we're worried about if you Christian or if you Muslim, the right thing is to worry about which God you served. You hear me? Which God you serve. Get in here and read the word for yourself. Get in here and understand the word for yourself. Don't let man deceive you. Because the same one that will believe that their religion is holier than thou is the same one that led to our demise. Take heed to the message, everybody. Much love to you all. Y'all have a wonderful day. Please be safe. I hope you still come back tomorrow. I hope you still come back tomorrow. I know I rubbed some shoulders today, but the truth will always be the truth, even when you don't like it. Love you guys. No music today. Take heed to the message, everybody.